This is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Thursday, the 12th of March, 2015. Hope you're having a good trading week. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. I'd say that 13 sell signal that we got a month ago that we were analyzing for a while has finally bared out, almost back to that red static trend line, which would be the target of that signal at a minimum. And we are 6 going on now, 7 bars down towards a new startup phase, which would also, if that count gets to 9, be the sum of what we needed out of that downward move. So we're very close at this point after the big down day on Tuesday. Wednesday, on the other hand, was fairly flat, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. Let's take a look at some of the major indices that we follow. Here's a look at the NDX 100. You can see this one had a new 9-bar startup phase that gave us the red static trend line that we're heading towards right now, so that's in play. Here's a look at the SOX. This is the semiconductor index, also coming back in after making new highs recently. Here's a look at the biotech index, still holding pretty much near highs, not doing much there. Here's a look at the VIX, which closed the session today at 1687, right at that green static trend line that you can see. Here's a look at the trend, which closed on Wednesday at 0.93. And then let's take a look also at NASDAQ volume for the week. 1.6, it's not showing the dots. 1.6 is the close, almost 1.7 billion. That's a little lighter than we've been seeing of late, so not exactly spectacular volume. We did get a volume warning every day this week so far. So that's the downside to what we've been seeing. All right, let's go back and look at the futures and what they did, what the actual market did on Wednesday. Basically gapped up a little bit. They had a 13 Comer buy signal right at the close on Tuesday, and that caused us to gap up a little bit. Headed back to fill the gap. We were just dead flat in a very narrow range. Swept the lows once after lunch, bounced back up, and then closed back down near the lows. Lost, like I said, a couple of points for the day on the ES. NASDAQ side, a little more negative, closed much further down for the session than the broad market did. Apple had swung around a little bit and caused some of the issues. In terms of the next 2 trading days, because we don't do previews for Friday on YouTube, Thursday we have some big data, including the weekly initial jobless claims numbers, retail sales, and import-export prices an hour before the bell. Business inventories 30 minutes in, and natty gas an hour into the market. And then Treasury budget in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Friday we've got the PPI and the first look at Michigan sentiment for the month of March. However, the big thing between here and the end of the week is that we are doing the quarterly futures contract roll, where we move from the H5, that's the March contract, to the M5, that's the June contract. This does throw off the technicals and tends to lower volume for a couple days while the market adjusts to the new contract. That will happen from Thursday night going into Friday, so you'll see things start to die off Thursday, and then Friday is usually a fairly dull session, and it's a Friday anyways. Next week's options expiration, and we'll be on the new futures contracts, so have better hopes for next week than this week. Hope you have a great trading week. We'll be in the lab to help you out as usual.